Hey everyone, it's Argonath here from The Right Way. And as you've probably read or heard about, there is a new variant of the coronavirus called the Omicron variant. And again, the mainstream media has gone all out on the fear porn to try and scare everyone to get clicks and people to read and watch their content. So let's have a read about this article. This is from the New Zealand Herald, so from a New Zealand perspective, but it's pretty much the same sorts of things happening around the world. So before we start, again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down. And if you like my content, please subscribe as well. So the World Health Organization says the Omicron variant poses a very high global risk. The UN Health Agency said the COVID strain first discovered in southern Africa was a highly divergent variant with a high number of mutations, some of which are concerning and may be associated with immune escape potential and higher transmissibility. Again, nothing is proven yet. It's just it might have that, we don't actually know. The likelihood of potential further spread of Omicron at the global level is high. There have been no deaths connected with Omicron variant so far. However, WHO said even if Omicron proves to be less deadly than the previous strains, if it spreads more easily, then it will spark more cases and lead to more deaths. Alright, so it could do, we don't know this yet. We haven't had enough data about what's happening, but no death has been connected with the Omicron variant so far. So you would think that if it is quite more deadly than Delta, then we would start to see some of those already. So we'll just have to wait and see. But of course, the mainstream media just goes all out to try and paint this in a way to make people more afraid of this. If another major surge of COVID-19 takes place driven by Omicron, consequences may be severe, it said, concluding that the overall global risk related to the new variant is assessed as very high. Again, we don't know this, so they're probably just being a safety first approach here. So the Omicron variant will test our collective ability to respond to future pandemics. Speaking at a 3-day event, the WHO chief said, courageous and compassionate leadership and an unshakable commitment to solidarity will be fundamental in ending the pandemic. We have to all come together and act as one nation, one people, everyone together to stop this particular pandemic. Dr. Tedros criticised the inequitable distribution of vaccines, adding that access to vaccinations for all countries was necessary to limit the spread of the virus and its mutations. So instead of looking after our own people, we should be looking after people in other countries and then look after our own people. It's not really how it works, right? Remember when you're on an aeroplane and the oxygen masks come down? They always say, look after your own oxygen mask first before you help other people, because if you die, then it's not going to help the other people either, right? So same sorts of things here. We need to, we need to look after our own population first, and then we can start to look after people from other populations. If you need money for vaccines for some of these poorer countries, then why don't all these wealthy left-wing people who have millions and billions of dollars start donating all their money towards this? But they don't do that, do they? Because they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. The more vaccine inequity persists, the more the virus will spread in ways we cannot predict or prevent. We're all in this together. And yes, I do agree that, allowing the virus to percolate in countries which have less vaccinations is not good, but we still need to look after our own citizens first before we can actually look after other people. If we go and vaccinate people from other countries, then we have no money left to vaccinate our own population, then that's not particularly good either, right? WHO says that while scientists work to determine how effective vaccines are against the new variant, countries should accelerate COVID vaccination, especially among vulnerable populations who have yet to receive any jabs. Pretty much by now, in pretty much all of the developed countries, if you wanted to have a vaccination, you would have got this already, right? Just look at some of these articles. Australia delays border opening. Japan bans foreign visitors. New COVID variant plays havoc with share market. All doom and gloom articles, because that's what people get clicks on. These organisations get clicks on and so on. Always spreading the fear porn, but we need to look at it in a bit more deeper level. However, it also cautioned against imposing travel bans, saying that blocking travel from countries where new variants are first spotted is unfair. What the hell are you talking about? Right? So, I agree that we don't need to go overboard on the fear of this virus, but we still need to take prudent action just in case it does end up being really a lot more deadly than the Delta variant, right? We don't know yet at this point. So I think it's just common sense that you stop people traveling here who might have a risk of getting this new variant. We're already battling with the Delta variant here in New Zealand and other countries. Why do we also want to battle another variant as well? So, I mean, when the original coronavirus outbreak happened, Trump wanted to close down flights and travel from China to stop people coming in with the virus, and he was labeled an absolute racist for that, right? And now countries are doing the same thing, but they're not labeled racist because they're not Donald Trump, right? He had the right idea. We need to stop it coming until we know what we're dealing with, and then we can open back up. Only thing in New Zealand is we have an idiotic government who cannot open back up to make it easier for people to come back in, even though they have posed no risk to us, considering we always have the Delta variant. We want to stop the new variant coming in until we know how effective our vaccines are and how deadly it is. If it just means that people get sick but they're not going into hospital, then it doesn't matter if we get the Omicron variant, because it's eventually going to come here anyway, right? There's no way that you're going to stop any variant from actually getting into your country. Even New Zealand, which has a big moat around it, we've got a big ocean around us, it's still going to get in somehow. With the Omicron variant now detected in several regions of the world, putting in place travel bans that target Africa attacks global solidarity. Well, even though it might be in some countries, you still want to reduce the risk until we know what we're talking about, right? The World Health Organization is more about being kind to these poor countries and so on. I don't care if some people's feelings are hurt. We need to look after our people first, but do it in a sensible way and don't overreact. South Africa has complained it is being punished with air travel bans for first detecting the strain. No, we're just being prudent. It's great that you detected the strain, but we need to know what it's about before we can actually do anything about it. So it makes sense to me. I don't know, you might feel a little bit differently. You can let me know in the comment section, I guess. Meanwhile, the Omicron variant has been detected in Canada. 2 cases in Ontario were confirmed. The variant has also been found in Australia, Israel, Botswana, the UK and France since it was first detected. So it has already got out, but we can try and reduce the spread of it by not allowing other people to come in. I guess once it's out in the community, then there's no point having the travel ban, right? So it's just temporary. It's not going to be permanent or anything. So Dr. Anthony Fauci, the US top infectious diseases, I don't know, his reputation has been tarnished quite a bit actually. Said he would not be surprised if the Omicron variant was already in the United States too. We have not detected it yet, but when you have a virus that is showing this degree of transmissibility, it's almost invariably is ultimately going to go essentially all over. South Africa, where the Omicron variant was first discovered, could see daily infections treble this week. Epidemiologist Dr. Salim Abdul Karim said health monitors reported over 2,800 new infections on Sunday, up from daily averages of 500 in the previous week and 275 the week before. I'm expecting we will top over 10,000 cases by the end of the week per day, and see pressure on hospitals within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So this is where the mainstream media absolutely fall down, because they don't give us the data. They always talk about cases because they know that that is the most shocking figure. But out of those Omicron cases, how many actually end up going into hospital or end up actually dying because of this variant? They don't give us that because we don't have enough data on that. They just want to scare us so that we become more compliant to all their governments who they pander to. You can just see that all of these left-wing media organisations in New Zealand are just pander the same thing, right? Get us completely scared of the new variant, and that way we'll do everything the government here in New Zealand tells us to do. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Omicron variant. Are you worried about it? I'm not particularly worried about it. We haven't heard enough data about it yet. It doesn't matter about the transmissibility of it, it's the actual effects of it, which is what we need to be worried about. And until we get some more data about that, we should be prudent, but we shouldn't overact. So yes, have a temporary travel ban from those particular countries, but once we know that it's not any worse than Delta and the vaccines are still effective against it, then we can open back up. And if it does end up being quite bad, then we'll need to look at things in a bit more detail, I guess. So I'd love to see your comments in the comment section. Let me know. As I said, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down, and hopefully you'll subscribe as well. So hopefully catch you in the next video.